The NBA trade deadline is approaching. Teams know that they have to take action if they want to take that next step and truly become a contender in the NBA. Some teams, they're already contending, but they need that final piece to solidify their championship run. And while other teams, they're trying to gear up for the future. They're trying to make sure they can be good for the long haul. I think trades are always so interesting because there's not always a clear winner or a clear loser. Sometimes it takes years to find out who won or lost a trade, even though at the time it might seem obvious, it isn't. And sometimes there's two winners, and other times, well, by now I'm sure you get the picture. We've seen players disgruntled and lashing out this season. Some players, they don't like their situations, and others just really don't want to lose. And at this stage of their career, could you blame them? This video, I'm going to be talking about 5 trades that should happen to shake up the NBA. But before we go any further, guys, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss another D-Coop video. And that's facts. I'm trying to get to 200,000 subscribers so I can go full time and bring you guys daily content. So be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I want to let you guys know that a Michael Porter Jr. video is coming to my channel really soon. He has been absolutely ridiculous, and I plan to bring you guys a video on his game and breaking down how he could be one of the most important pieces going forward for the Denver Nuggets and their title hopes. He's definitely one of my favorite players, if not my favorite. Speaking of the Denver Nuggets and trades, I think teams should be aggressive going forward trying to get Malik Beasley. He's an impact player who might not reach their ceiling in Denver. With that being said, be sure to follow my IG, handle GLikeCoop. You guys will not want to miss another post. First on my trade list, I have the Los Angeles Lakers trading with the Brooklyn Nets, Kyle Kuzma and Danny Green for Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, there's a few reasons I make this offer. The Los Angeles Lakers need a point guard and also a shooting guard that can provide an offensive punch when Anthony Davis and LeBron aren't going. Now, I'm not saying Danny Green isn't capable of providing an offensive punch, but Spencer Dinwiddie gives you an element that the Lakers really don't have at the moment. They don't have that third consistent scorer who can go out and apply pressure to defenses on their own, that can go out and get their own buckets. We thought that would be Kuzma, but he's been really inconsistent this year. And again, Dinwiddie is capable of running the offense on his own. Now, I'm not sure if LA would have to add picks to this deal or not, but with the proper pick compensation, I believe the Nets would be interested in this deal because now you have Kyrie Irving with a shooter like Danny Green next to him. And I know the Nets have Joe Harris, but let's just think. You have Danny Green, a guy that's been in the big moments, that's hit the big shots, that's played in multiple big games throughout his career, that could help bring some experience to a team that may not need more experience, but it never hurts. And then on the other end, you have Kyle Kuzma, a role player in Los Angeles, but he can offer some big time upside. Kuzma is somebody that in the right system can give you big games, can be a big time player. We're looking at somebody that's a year removed from averaging almost 20 points a game. Kyrie wanted the Nets to make moves. He wanted improvement. He wanted role players. He wanted guys that offered upside. And most importantly, guys that fit. Now, I know earlier I named DeAndre Jordan in the starting lineup. I would personally start Jarrett Allen, but DeAndre seems to be boys with Kyrie, boys with KD, so the Nets may opt to do that in the future. But Jarrett is a monster. The next trade is one I absolutely love, but I know that both sides may feel a type of way about this. I have Kevin Love for Clint Capella and PJ Tucker. Right now, I think the Cavaliers do this because Clint Capella is a valuable asset for a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers. They don't have to keep Capella. They could try to flip him, or they could keep him on the roster because he's only 25 years old. And obviously, it's in the Cavs' best interest to take the youth approach. Also, after seeing how Kevin Love behaved, there may not be too many teams that are interested in taking a risk on him. So this Clint Capella PJ Tucker package could be one of the best that the Cavs could possibly get, because you have the Houston Rockets, who have Russell Westbrook and James Harden on this timeline. This timeline has to come soon. These guys have to win now. There is no other option for James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Let's look at some facts. Kevin Love is the perfect fit for James Harden and Westbrook. You have Kevin Love, who has been a spot-up shooter before, who has excelled in that role, but also offers more and offers championship experience. He is somebody that is perfect, that is playable in the playoffs, that's going to space the floor for James Harden, that's going to space the floor for Russell Westbrook. Not only is he going to do that, but again, take it back to the playoffs. The Rockets couldn't play Clint Capella in certain stretches in the playoffs because teams would flat out play him off of the floor. Well, I know what you're thinking. What about PJ Tucker? PJ Tucker has been very inconsistent this year. Somebody that has occasionally gotten bullied on the glass. He's only about 6'5", 6'6". Now you bring in Kevin Love, legit big man again, and somebody that is an elite rebounder. I would love to see this move happen. Up next, we have Chris Paul for Dante, Eric Bledsoe, and Ilyasova. Now this is one of the most confusing moves of the decade, because I don't know who would have to add picks in this scenario. On one hand, you have Chris Paul, who has been absolutely phenomenal this season, but then you look at his contract and question marks start to pop up over everybody's head. Honestly, I didn't even know they made contracts that big. And then you see this tweet, no one wants CP3. Supposedly, an executive said this about Chris Paul's trade value. Now this came about a month ago, so take it with a grain of salt, but it's still interesting. I'd have to think the Thunder are looking towards the future. Chris Paul has been phenomenal in his mentor role, but this team has to know it's not winning right now. And it could know that and keep Chris Paul because it has more picks than I've ever seen. But it's still interesting to discuss. Now you look at this from the Bucks' perspective. They've never had a guard like Chris Paul play with Giannis. Somebody that sees the floor at such a high level, that controls the pace of the game at such an elite level. He would make life so much easier for Giannis and perhaps the whole Bucks team. This is a team that could be one marginal move away from winning it all, or could win it all with the roster they have right now. This team is that good. The next trade I know is going to make a lot of people unhappy, but this is a trade that honestly benefits both sides, assuming Embiid is able to come back healthy fairly soon. Now, you have Damian Lillard for Ben Simmons and Al Horford. The reason the Trailblazers make this trade is assume they don't make the playoffs this year. Now, you have Ben Simmons, who's this utterly elite player. This is a guy with all of the potential in the world that I feel like isn't going to reach it in Philadelphia. I think him and Embiid's game contradict each other's style a little too much. A lot of times Embiid goes on record and says he shoots a lot of threes because nobody else will do it. He is tired of some of Ben Simmons' antics. And if you don't believe me, you can search the quotes yourself, or you could go to my Ben Simmons to the Warriors video. Embiid has to create a lot of spacing for the 76ers when the team should be creating spacing around him to make his life easier. Ben Simmons could be ridiculously elite in the right system, and honestly his game would complement McCollum's so well. You have this dynamic scorer at the perimeter that you put next to Ben Simmons, one of the best passers in the NBA. Makes too much sense. Now I know Dame is committed to Portland, and Portland likely doesn't make this move, or do the Philadelphia 76ers. But this is a deal that would greatly benefit both sides, because with the 76ers, you get Embiid, Damian Lillard. This guy is creating spacing out to half court. They call this guy Logo Dame for good reason. You wanted a perimeter playmaker who could shoot the ball. Look no further. Damian Lillard, perfect fit for Joel Embiid. But after all, maybe the 76ers would rather keep Simmons. He's looked phenomenal with Embiid out, aggressively attacking and finishing at a high level. And of course, I do think there's still hope that this duo can figure it out. Now, this last trade I had to entertain. It's Devin Booker for Danny Green, Cousins, Cook, and Kuzma, and future picks from the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, unfortunately for the Lakers, a lot of their future picks went to Anthony Davis or the New Orleans Pelicans. And I guess you could say fortunately, because that has worked out greatly. But honestly, Devin Booker in LA would be the perfect star for Anthony Davis and LeBron James. The Suns have given him experience running point guard and being the main ball handler. And we're talking about the sharpest of sharpshooters. This guy is a different type of scorer. When people say bucket, they should think of Devin Booker. While it's fun to imagine, I still can't believe Stephen A. Smith said this trade. I want to know in the comments below what trades you guys want to see and what trades you think should happen in the NBA. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now, guys. It's me going over how the media is lying to you about Kyrie Irving. Be sure to subscribe. Notice on. I'm D Coop and I'm out.